country. Many people cannot afford to eat or keep a roof over their head. Too many can do neither. Messiah's Branch has a mission church in Wichita, Kansas that helps the victims of this banker's economy, the American people. Your neighbors. The mission is the last hope for so many Americans.
Saints, the world is in turmoil. Most still don't realize it, but we are in that time of the end, and that's the time before Messiah's return. It's a time to get out of sin, the world, and look to the holy city. Look to the one who suffered and died for you. Did you not hear the sound of the shofar? You need to heed the warning and get right now before it's too late. If you need help after this program, call me. I'll pray for you or with you. If you get the machine, please leave your name, number, prayer request, and or message.
And the phone number is 620-878-4682. That's 620-878-4682. If you have an emergency and you need to speak with Dan, text him on his phone and tell him you're going to call in cell 316-619-4886, 316-619-4886. You can always find the breaking news, updates about the Wichita Mission Church, and the radio program archives. And that's all that contact information is on our ministry hub, which is prophecyhour.com. That's prophecyhour.com.
Okay, we are a live radio program with simulcast live on internationally. It's on some independent FM. That makes it radio, of course, with 4 different MP3 video, audio on Twitch, D Live, Twitter, Rumble, YouTube. Actually, you can, if you go over to avrn.tv, you can find all those things, and you can also find us. If you want to watch the video, we're live now. You go to Prophecy Hour and click on the Rumble link, and we are live now. But we are also broadcasting other places out. I just don't have it on the website yet. But through all those, you can see us live. And afterwards, you can find us. Where was that again?
prophecyhour.com.
Oh, how about branch.podomatic.com? Can you find us there?
I guess you have so many of them. I don't keep up with them.
Branch. Okay, well, we'll clarify that. Branch.podomatic.com is actually where all of it's held. Everything else streams from there. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. When you get all these different apps, I say you could find our radio program on, most of them aren't downloaded on those apps. That when you click on that app that you get on your phone, like iPhone or something, iPhone doesn't download it to their iPhone site. They just have a link to branch.podomatic.com. And so technically, what says that you're listening through iPhone or Apple or whatever, you're actually listening to branch.podomatic.com where the actual archive is at, except for places like Rumble and the other ones that we've downloaded.
Oh, I do say that every week, don't I? That's where the podcasts are.
Speak up.
I said I do say that every week, don't I? That's where the podcasts are.
Yeah, that's
branch.podomatic.com.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, moving right along.
This is like Frankfurt, Germany, Auckland, New Zealand, Calgary, Canada, and in the USA we have Boise, Idaho, Houston, Texas, Lone Beach, California. And last week, Hutchinson, Kansas was the largest group of listeners that listen when it posts on podcast later tonight. And again, that site, archive site is branch.potomatic.com, branch.potomatic.com.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, in Yeshua HaMashiach's name, I pray, Father, I pray radio tonight goes according to your will, not our will, Father, and give everyone out there ears in which to hear and understand the truth. So please, Father Yahweh, in your Son, Yeshua HaMashiach's mighty name, bless this program tonight. In Yeshua's name, amen and amen. Well, before I play this song, I want to show the people something. This book right here that I'm showing, that's who is going to be on my second radio program tonight. Carl Gallups, and he's got a brand new book, and book's going to be dynamite. I can't wait to get into this one. You won't believe the things that are in this. I just got this like 2 days ago. Ain't had a chance to read it yet, but we'll talk about it in the next radio program. Okay. In the meantime, let's do this.
Fire on the mountain, Moses went to see. The bush was burning with the flame. By the power of God's glory, he was standing on holy ground. Yeah, he had to humble down, take his sandals off, cause he was standing on holy ground. Daniel in the lion's den, he trusted in God's word. Those hungry lions' mouths were shut, and not a hair on Daniel was hurt, and he was standing on holy ground. Yeah, he had to humble down. He was standing on holy ground. Holy ground. Holy ground. They were standing on holy ground. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, into the furnace they were tossed. When the king looked in, there were 4, not 3, must have had their sandals off, and they were standing on holy ground. Yeah, they had to humble down. They were standing on holy ground. David told Goliath, you come with sword and shield, but I am the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel. He was standing on holy ground. Yeah, he had to humble down, cause he was standing on holy ground. Holy ground. They were standing on holy ground. Are you standing on holy ground?
Okay, well, that's holy ground, and I pray that you guys are standing on holy ground. Let's get on with a couple of things here. Just came out and is in the Israeli national news. Well, actually, Stan, props, won't do that. Anyway, it was inquired by me and wanted to know if they did a burning sacrifice for the red heifer. That popped up 2 days ago, I guess. But I don't know what day it was actually things. And so, yeah, on July 8th. And yeah, they burn up a red heifer and all that. And you can find the link over if you go to the Israel categories over there on the website. They did do a red heifer, but it wasn't a red heifer, so to speak. It was a red heifer that ended up having some black hairs in it. Oh. So rather than waste it, and this is their excuse. There could be, different, but so they thought, well, this is a good time because they are training priests to be priests. The Temple Institute is. So they did burn the red heifer. In fact, I got it on my screen. There's a picture of it, but They did burn the red heifer, but it had a black hair in it. It was just a practice. So they used it
So it
as
was a practice burn.
yeah,
Poor cow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
All
And
those
they were,
ribeyes burn up. Dang it.
one, they kill the cow before they burn
Well, I
it
know, but
up.
it's still all those ribeyes wasted, and hamburger and roast and
Yeah, well, but it's not a waste for. Okay, anyway, other than my wife's comedy act, that's not a waste for the red heifer because the red heifer is to cleanse the whole temple area and the priest and everybody so they can have sacrifices and it's required by Torah. So it's not, yeah, it's ribeyes and all that, but
well, but that one's not. That one wasn't spotless without blemish. It had a black hair, so they shouldn't have burned it.
well, it was okay to burn it for a practice because if you don't have a practice and you just do something, the potential for messing up during an actual thing when it's something holy. I mean, back in the day, you could get struck dead by Yahweh for it. I mean, so you want to be right. So there's a practice. You ever heard the saying, practice makes perfect? Anyway, so they did do that. So if any of you people, though, are hearing out there that they burn up the red heifer and they now have the ashes and stuff, they do not have the ashes. Well, I suppose they do have the ashes. I don't know what they're going to do with them because they're not good for anything. But so anyway, don't go to rumors. That's what I'm trying to say. Make sure you check things out. All right, now moving right along. Let's go with this. Read that.
UK Muslim preacher quotes genocidal Hadith about killing Jews, saying he's done nothing wrong as scripture.
Stop. And that's a hadith. And that is it's like commentary to their Bible. It's something that was written to go along with their Bible, like a commentary. And their Bible is the Quran. Okay, now go ahead, read it.
Abu Hurairah reported Allah's messenger as saying the last hour would not come unless the Muslims will fight against the Jews and the Muslim would kill them until the Jews would hide themselves behind a stone or a tree, and a stone or a tree would say, Muslim or the servant or Allah, there is a Jew behind me. Come and kill me. But the tree
kill him.
But the tree guard hard would say, for it is the tree of the Jews. Sayyid Muslim 29:22. So what's the authorities in Shatter saying Demi Britain going to do? They won't prosecute him for quoting an Islamic sacred text, so they'll take it the next easy way out and surrender.
Okay, so here's case in point. This is something that everybody ought to know, and the reason I put this in is the Quran. That clearly that shows you that what the guy's quoting. He says it's the scripture he's quoting is the Quran, and so he's saying it's in our Quran that says it, so it's our holy book, so I can say it anytime I want. Okay, but here's case in point. This is why it's impossible really to make peace with anybody that's a real Muslim, because if they follow their faith says they have to kill every Jew. And and we're next in line with that, so there's the point. They want to kill us, they want to kill the Jews. It's in their Quran, and so if it's in their Quran and they follow their Quran, they're supposed to kill us. That's why Israel can't make peace with them. That's why they're not about peace at all. They just want to wipe out the Jews. Why? Because their holy book says it. And so that's what makes it impossible for it to happen. And this is why, I say all the time, this is where the Antichrist is going to come from. And these are the army of the Antichrist. And I have been saying that for many, many years, that they are the army of Antichrist. In fact, if you went back to the radio archives, I talked with a Muslim on it that explained all this, and went through it in great detail. And if you want me to, folks, let me know. I'll post them for you, but you can go to branch.podomatic.com, start going back through the archives, and you'll find those episodes, and you should listen to them. It will educate you about Muslims. And that's how I know so much I know what I know about Muslims, because I was educated by a Muslim. You know, I didn't just go and read it and guess about it myself. I was educated by a Muslim that was willing to come forward and talk. And so, anyway, so that's an interesting case in point. So, you know, got to be careful. Okay.
Oh, boy. Yeah, as of July 9th, 2025, there are still 173 people reported missing following the catastrophic flash floods in Texas.
Right. Flash floods in Texas. And, you know, we're having really weird rainfall, actually. You know, I mean, like this weekend, it's projecting rain here in Kansas still this weekend. Usually by July, we're starting to have dry weather, aren't we?
Yeah, but it's getting later and later every year. It used to be April showers bring May flowers, but we hardly get any rain in April at all.
Okay, see, so you just answered the question that I
Yeah.
asked you. You say, well, she said, yeah, but it made it sound like she was discount what I said, but she confirmed what
I
I
wasn't
said.
discounting what you said. I was
I
agreeing
know
with you
you
and
can.
saying
I
that it's
know it.
getting
You
later and
confirmed
later
it.
every year.
That's what I'm saying. You confirmed it. It started off sounding like you was going to discount it, but you didn't. You confirmed it. I just want the people to know that because you know she gardens. You know what I mean? So you know, and I got mud puddles out there all over the place.
Yeah, I think I've only had to water 3 times this year.
Yeah. Anyway, so okay, but so what did that come from? Go read that red
A
part.
confirmed CEO of Weather Modification Company reveals cloud seeding operations were conducted in Texas just 2 days before the deadly flood. The CEO of a weather modification technology company has confirmed that the cloud seeding operations took place in Texas just 2 days before the deadly Central Texas flood occurred. NBC News reported that Augustus Dorkins, the Dorico, the CEO of the Rainmaker, a weather modification company, said that planes had released silver iodine in the atmosphere in Texas 2 days prior to the fatal floods that claimed over 100 lives. Dorico claims the cloud seeding operation did not cause the flooding in Texas.
I believe it could have very well added to it, and naturally he is going to say that his company didn't do it because if he says, "Yeah, well, I caused it," then you know he's liable for all
100 people's deaths and more. There's still 173 people missing, and most of those are children.
And not even including if he admits guilt to it, then he would be sued out of business because these families would all be open to suing him for damages. And
yeah, I never got a chance to say anything to you, but they was arguing about that or talking about that or debating it, I guess you would say. When they debate it, it's not really an argument. They just don't agree and they go back and forth. But about the government or whatever causing whoever it is that place causing the rain and flooding, but they're also trying to blame it on them for the Oklahoma one just this last weekend. They had rescue people in Oklahoma just this last weekend.
Yeah, you were telling me about that, but I don't know if this guy's admitting about Texas. It's it's a company, it's a non-government company, but I don't know who's paying him to do it because somebody pays him. The company, call up the company, hey, I want you to.
And I really just kind of blew it off because I know they got the HARP machine and they cause storms and all that, but I don't know about them causing all the flooding that's going on.
No, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe the HARP's responsible for it at all. It's more in the cloud seeding. In fact, they're fixing to. There's people in Congress that are going to make it a bill to make it illegal to do it. You know, you'd think they would need permission anyway, but there's so many things that are slipped through the cracks because technology advances, and then it takes longer for the laws to catch up with the technology. You know what I mean? To really.
Well, if they can make it rain, then how come there's drought? Answer me that.
I don't know. But they have been seeing clouds with some success for many, many years to rain. So, yeah, that makes an awful lot of sense. I mean, you know, well, if they can, then why is there a drought? you know,
right?
yeah, I don't know, but you're asking the wrong person. See, I'm glad I'm not the person that has to answer that. But anyway, so that's what's going on with that. And so my heart breaks. These little children were in their camps and they were just, swept
And
away.
most of the people, they said they gave the warning earlier in the day, 12 hours ahead, but then they gave a warning at 1:35 in the morning. Most people that work go to bed after the news or before midnight, so they would have already been in bed for that warning, and it flooded at 4:30 in the morning. So most of them people were in bed asleep.
Yeah, the little children for sure were
Most all them people were in bed asleep and got washed away in water.
Yeah, so I just pray that whatever happened came quick for them, But I read one report. There was a guy that was helping to rescue people, a dad, and he it was terrible. He said he rescued a bunch of kids, and he couldn't go any further because there was too much water. But he could sit there and hear the children screaming.
Oh no.
And he's got to live with that. That's that's horrific.
Well, and I read one about one dad, but he don't have to live with it because he drowned trying to save two of his babies. Yeah. He had a hold of his babies trying to save him and his two babies, and they washed away out of his hand, and then he went under.
Yeah, there's a lot of horrific stories out of that. It's terrible thing. Whatever really happened, it's a terrible, terrible thing. Needs to be investigated. Whether it will, and with so much else on the plate, I just don't know anymore. But anyway, and I'm not going to go into Alligator or Alcatraz until the second part of the program. But we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about the new big bill. But what are modifications? Going back to that though, so here's the deal though. They're also putting other things in the air besides that. That's talking about rain, but they are seeding the clouds with other things like aluminum and different things, and they are pursuant to stopping that. Because chemtrails. Everybody's those are conspiracy theories. No, it's not a conspiracy theory, and it's paid. I'm willing to come forward and say that. Yeah, it was funded a lot by the CIA and those people, and so these companies that are doing it, even though it was government paid, they're tracking them, but they're still out there doing it, even though they know that it is coming up illegal. So, but there is a bill in the House to do that. Supposedly, Kennedy is trying to locate all these places that are doing it and stop it. We'll see, but. Go with that. Chemtrails is no longer a conspiracy theory.
No,
it is absolutely. Well,
I knew it was real anyway, because when you have a nice, beautiful garden and everything's really dark green and pretty, and then you have jets fly over one day and you see all these streaks in the sky, and then the next day you look and all your stuff's yellow spotted and something's on them. Something happened.
Right, I agree with you, and again, I never believed it was a conspiracy theory, and that's just what other people have said. In fact, practically everything that we put forward, practically not everything, has came to pass and is coming to pass. Yes. And I've been warning about it ever since I've been on talk radio, and even before with just the newsletter. Okay, so let's go to a break, and we will come back. Okay, if I can find the right button, I'll do it. Yeah, there we go. Riding on the clouds, shining like the sun, as the trumpet calls, lift your voice, the year of Jubilee, out of time,
Don't go away. Pastor Dan will be right back.
In Genesis 41, tells the story of Pharaoh having a dream of 7 fat ears of corn, followed by 7 blasted ones, meaning there's 7 years of plenty, and then there was 7 years of famine following. We are now in 7 years of famine once again, starting September 25th of 2021. Joseph's Kitchen is about getting actual wheat berries Putting them through a meal takes 30 seconds, putting it along with the ingredients into a bread machine, pushing a button. 2 hours, 20 minutes later, you have a nice steaming hot loaf of whole wheat bread. Most long-term storage food is from $9,000 to $10,000, one person 1 year. At Joseph's Kitchen, it's 2 people 1 year, about $2,000. Then you decide whether you want to have food for one person 1 year, 2 people 1 year, 4 people 1 year, or 6 people 1 year, all at josephskitchen.com. That's right, about $1,000 per person per year at josephskitchen.com. josephskitchen.com.
Hath God said, in the Garden of Eden, the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Careful consideration of the following events gives us great insight as to the tactics used by Satan in an attempt to devour the servants of God. The serpent questioned Eve, hath God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Eve, after reconfirming the fact that God had commanded that certain fruit not be eaten, and that disobedience would result in death, was told by the serpent that disobedience would not result in death. Ye shall not surely die. Truly there is nothing new under the sun. Satan knows that the commandments of God are sure, and that they stand fast forever and ever, yet he continues to persuade men to question those commandments. Hath God said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy? Yes, God did say that, and Satan knows that non-observance of the Sabbath day constitutes sin. He knows that the wages of sin is death, yet in an attempt to destroy man, he still persuades, ye shall not surely die. Each individual must choose whom they will serve. Those who believe the lies of Satan become the servants of sin. Those who believe God, the servants of righteousness. I'm Richard Reeves with Just the Facts. For more information, contact Partakers Publications, Post Office Box 23031, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28227. Or visit our website at www.toolong.com.
What would you do if you had to tell a person the most important information in the world, but you knew they wouldn't believe you? Would you tell them? Well, most would. So what is the most important information in the world to all people, nations, and languages? The most important thing to do is to receive Jesus, but the most important thing not to do is don't take the mark of the beast, because those taking the mark of the beast do not get soul death, but are eternally tormented in hell. Revelation 14:11 says, the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night who worship the beast in his image, or whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. But how do you tell them? Give them the book, Miss the Mark. If they'll read this simple, thin, easy to read book, they will never take the mark of the beast. 1 for $20, but don't do that. We offer them in shrink wrap sets of 10 to give away. 1 set of 10 for $30, 2 sets 45, 4 sets 70 at prophecyclub.com. Miss the mark at prophecyclub.com. Miss the mark at prophecyclub.com.
Well,
Yet he
folks, we
continues
are
to
back.
persuade men to question those commandments. Hath God said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it?
I don't know how that got
Oops.
on. I guess it was starting over. I don't know.
I said, hey, somebody said, oh, that sounds like Richard Reeves.
Well, it already went off and went through the outro, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know why I have to have that file checked out. Anyway, moving right along. Forget about that. Anyway, I said we're back, right? No.
Yep, we're back.
Okay, we're back. Okay, so moving right along. So, let's talk about the mission church, I guess, for a minute. In fact, I just got notified, person that donates large King James Version Bibles for us, just let me know that they're going to have Bibles for me next week.
Cool.
Which we need them. I have to talk to my son and see how many we got left. Anyway, we go through an awful lot of Bibles. So, amen. That's a good thing. So, how you doing? How are we doing over there?
I need stocking. I need to stock.
Bad. Yeah, I especially meat.
Yes, meat.
Yeah,
And it's up high. I just bought 4 and it was $44, $45. 44, 45, 46. So right around $45 to $50 for 10-pound rolls.
Right. Yeah, you showed me yesterday the hamburgers ridiculous.
And we went and got those. I think we went and got those Monday. And then yesterday when we was in the store and the hamburger then was $4.49 a pound, $4.95 a pound if you bought it, behind the counter, but it was $4.59 or $4.49 in the rolls. And yesterday I pointed it out to you, it was $6.39 for 80/20.
Right, but that was at 2 different stores too. Though.
Yeah, but Saturday Carlson's was $1 higher than Dale's, so I imagine it's up at Dale's too.
Yeah, we'll just have to check it out, and but so yeah, hamburgers going up. It's all
everything's going up, and I pointed out to you that the steaks was $21.99 a pound. Wow.
Well, that was ribeyes, and not that we can afford ribeyes.
No, I bought a roast.
Yeah,
Cut it.
Yeah, we had a chuck roast when she made it in, roast and rice or whatever.
I said I was going to cut it into steaks, and he said no, just make beef tips and rice, and it was really good.
Yeah, it was really good. It was just dissolved. That was really.
But good. It made enough for 2 meals because there's enough for leftovers for us to feed all 3 of us again. So yeah.
Right. And 3 of us. That means
$15. I think it was $14.95 for 3 pounds.
But anyway, so we really need meat at the mission church.
Yes, we need meat at the mission church, and I just checked all my stock. I've got 3 bags of Go plates. I've got 3 packs of lids for the cups, and there's like a half a box of cups left. So.
Right.
And then I'm out of napkins, and I've got a half a box of forks. So yeah, I really need everything. I'm out of sugar. I'm out of flour. I'm out of salt. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I do have one place that I can maybe the flour and sugar and stuff that I can ask, and they'll probably give it. But anyways, we do need your help. And that's not including, I imagine you're about out of pasta too, aren't you?
I'm completely out of pasta. I'm going to have to stop by Walmart tomorrow and buy some.
Right.
Because I don't have any, and I want to make the rest of that. I made spaghetti Friday with the last of the spaghetti that I had, and I got enough sauce to make spaghetti again. So I need to buy more spaghetti. So I'm going to stop on the way in.
Right.
But I need eggs too, because our eggs are not my eggs. My chickens, and that's what I told Norm yesterday. It must be the heat. Because his chicken man, he's about cut in half with his chickens too. I only got a half of what we usually get. So I'm gonna have to buy eggs because I'm used to that egg salad filling half of my plates every Tuesday and every Friday. I was only doing it 1 day a week and making it once a week, but it's a lot easier to fill half of my plates and make sure I don't run out of food, because if I run out of food, I have to figure something out in like 1 minute.
Right.
Because they're outside waiting and it's hot.
Yeah, they're outside waiting. And hey, for the record, in your ice box at the house, is there some popsicles in there?
No, but they're on the counter. We buy those last year?
I bought them to take them to church.
Yeah, there's 3 packs of them. I thought Bubba might have bought them for the girls and stored them there. Yeah, they're on the counter. I'll take them tomorrow.
Yeah, that's for the people. Then, folks, that's for the people. They're waiting outside.
Yeah, we used to do that. We do that in the summertime. We give them iced tea and popsicles. Because they ain't been touching the coffee. Cody said he did 1 cup of coffee. I said, oh, wonder why.
Yeah, well, it's so hot out there. Okay, anyway, so pray about supporting Wichita Mission Church. Tell them how they can do it.
And you can donate online, by Cash App, over the phone, by mail-in check or money order. You can find all that information at prophecyhour.com. That's prophecyhour.com. If you don't want to help with the poor or the mission work, then please consider a donation for radio airtime, because that's what keeps us on the air. It's not free, and we get the news out to you. It's breaking news most of the times right after it happens, before anybody else gets it.
Yeah, our motto.
My husband's on his phone reading news almost 24/7. I think he reads it in his sleep.
Well, and it's not always on my phone. It's on, but I do monitor the news. That's what I do. I keep the website updated and everything, and I want to know if something happens. And that's why my research and things have been good that has supported the ministry.
And that what makes it easy for me. I don't have to keep tracks of nothing because I know if something happens, I'm going to see my husband a few minutes after, and he's going to tell me all about it.
Well, I do try to cut it off when Sabbath comes, but
Yeah.
I even have a quick glance to see if the world blew up,
Yeah, especially when the war was about to go blow up.
Yeah,
Not the
which
war, the
now
world.
which seems like about every other day, something's about to blow up. Anyway,
Trump's such a jokester. That was so funny when he got Vance. He got him really good with
Yeah.
that red button on his desk. Vance thought the world was glowing. It was so funny. He
Okay,
pushed that button and in come the guy with the Diet Coke.
okay, well, let's back up. What she's talking about, JD Vance, when this was when they first, got into office, Trump has a red button on his desk, and he said JD Vance said Trump all of a sudden started yelling nuclear, nuclear, and hit the red button, and he didn't know what to think about it. And so then, yeah,
He was like, you see his face. He's like, oh no.
It was the Diet Coke button.
And then here comes the guy with the glass of Coke.
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious, and I have no words to say about Elon Musk except
I haven't been even keeping up with that.
I believe that he's acting like a spoiled child, but
he's back at it again.
Anyway, I'm not going into that. I mean, starting a new political party, that's not a good idea. Okay. On a funnier note, but it's probably not funny for the people there. Go ahead.
Violent alligator Alcatraz detainee whines as he reveals the incredible harsh conditions that he and his fellow thug endure on a daily basis. A violent migrant residing in what has fast become America's most famous prison spoke out this week about the harrowing conditions the prisoners face there. The TGP readers know that the state of Florida built an incredible new Alcatraz-like concept that the state of Florida is using to house illegal aliens as they are deported. The facility, located in Okeechobee, Florida, is surrounded by alligators and pythons, anxious for an easy meal should any illegals somehow escape custody. Well, you can't blame them because they're criminals. They murder, kill, and rape their people. So why would they want to put them in a regular prison and chance them escaping? So yeah, put them there and they don't have to worry about them.
Right, go on.
Okay, NPC 6 South Florida interviewed Limsey L.A. Figura Ingawastada, a 34-year-old migrant and self-described urban artist from Cuba, about the conditions on Alligator Alcatraz. He was arrested in Miami-Dade County following a violent altercation. According to the police report, he faces charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and simple assault. And what will come as music to Americans' ears, Ecuador had nothing but complaints about the prison.
Stop. Just call him the migrant from now on.
The migrant had nothing but complaints about the prison. Well, don't all of them have complaints about all the prisons? Hello. It's not supposed to be. What they used to say is this is not the Marriott Hotel.
Okay, well, this is a lot different.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When readers listen to his whining, they will understand why. The conditions are completely brutal and disgusting. The migrant starts by saying there is no water for him and the approximately 400 other detainees to bathe with. Nothing that it has been 4 days since he had last took a shower, but that is probably the best part of living at the Alligator Alcatraz. He then says he only gets fed once a day and the food sometimes has worms in it. Ugh. Meanwhile, the detention lights on the 24/7, making it hard for a prisoner to sleep. Given the Alligator Alcatraz is situated on a swamp, one would expect the insect situation to be abnormal.
Abominable.
Oh, abominable. Indeed, migrant describes seeing mosquitoes the size of elephants. Well, I believe that. Imagine how many blood meals those insects eat in a day. The migrant closes by whining about being unable to go outside and that the tents are freezing. Considering how hot and humid Florida is in the summer, the prison wardens must have turned the air conditioners sky high. While one can debate how brutal living conditions could be for prisoners in America, we should all be able to agree that it should not entail things like free TV, books, and gyms if migrants are so miserable at Alligator Alcatraz.
Okay, so my comments are number one, Alligator Alcatraz. You know, while you joked about it or whatever, basically tent-like structures, and you know, that's not really real buildings. It's just like a temporary type thing, you know. So they're in tents, they're out in fenced area, you know.
How can they have air conditioner if they're in tents? That makes no sense.
How's that? You can buy a tent right now that has an air conditioner.
Okay.
You know, modern day tents seal up. They seal the door, put the zipper down, and it has air conditioner in it. It's just that they probably turn them up very high for in the daytime, and they just leave them going at night.
Well, what keeps the alligators from coming in on land and eating them?
Well, it's fenced in.
Oh,
You know, they have high, and so that folks, you got to go over and just look up Alligator Alcatraz and go over and look at it. It's just a big fenced in area. You know, high fences with barbed wire on it, you know. And yes, I heard that feedback. I'm not sure where it's coming from. It could be coming from your headset. Anyway, I'll turn that down a little bit.
yeah, I might have to go check that out because I didn't realize. I thought they actually had a prison.
No, they put that up in just like a few, you know, a week or two, and it was up.
Well, but the only ones they're sending there are the hardened criminals, right?
They're sending criminals there. Number one, every alien is a criminal.
Right. I said hardened.
Right. I don't know exactly, but that's what they talked about doing, was sending the worst of them there, but it really doesn't matter. And they're not going to stay there for a long period of time. It's just a place to put them until they ship them on out.
Right.
It's not like they're going there and they're going to spend months and months and months there. It's just a temporary holding center, like a county jail.
Right.
You know, you could compare it to that, like a county jail. So, but you know, it's still.
Well, I think in our county jails, they don't even feed them in the holding cells. They don't get any meals at all. They go in the holding cell 72 hours, then they go into jail, right?
During it, you get fed.
Oh, you do?
Yes, you get fed. We don't do that. We feed them. That would be cruel and unusual punishment.
Everybody gets fed
if you withheld food from a prisoner for, and yes, there is. My wife keeps looking like, what's that? Yes, there's some kind of feedback. Well, I'll have to find it later. But point being, anyway, moving right along, it would be cruel and unusual punishment. We're not allowed to do that. And so, you know, yeah, we'll feed them. You know, they're not going to go 72 hours without feeding people. And usually you don't spend 72 hours in a holding cell. There's two different kinds of holding cells. There's one that's just basically a room with some benches in it, and like that in most jails, because I'm not an expert. I haven't been in a whole bunch of jails, but the point is, it's just a room, you know, with some benches in it. That's the first holding cell. But then they'll take you out to a different holding place that you will be at for, you know, until they decide whether they're going to.
I've been in at least 50.
You know, or you're going to bond out. Anyway, moving right along. That's irrelevant.
Oh boy, you was telling me about this yesterday. Here we go again. New Superman movie drops The American Way from heroes ironic catastrophe.
Okay.
Iconic
Catchphrase. You know, truth, justice, and the American way. Now it's
catchphrase.
They
Catchphrase,
cut
not
that out.
Okay. I can't hardly see it.
Stop. I don't want you to read it.
Okay.
If I wanted you to read it, anyway, yeah, she's trying to be helpful. Anyway, they changed truth, justice, and the American way case phrase. So it's choose justice and the human way is what they're saying now. And then so I thought I'd go look at the preview. I glanced at it. It only took about 2 seconds to realize that what the producer was saying, that yeah, this is a modern day movie for our time. What's woke? What's it about? Superman's being accused of being in the country, coming into the country illegally. That he's an illegal alien. So that can tell you what the movie's about.
Thank you.
Don't do it. I mean, you can if you want, but I wouldn't. Anyway, so let's go like this. Real quick.
Okay, FDA announces new safety warning on all mRNA COVID vaccines, cites extremely high risk of myocarditis and long-term heart damage in young men.
So myocarditis, that's just heart attack.
Yeah.
I don't try to pronounce that stupid word. I just say it, heart attack, and that's what it means. That's what myocarditis means is heart attack. But so they're actually putting a warning label on it, warning that it can kill you if you take it.
And that's just one thing it causes.
Yeah. So what? Right.
Yeah.
Right. It causes a lot of other things. So other things haven't all been quite proven. But anyway, moving right along. So that'll be on those things. Okay. Let's see here. Here's a list of some of the things. Okay, go ahead. Start right here. Here's some of the major policy victories that came out in the big, beautiful bill.
Okay, here's a list of some of the major victories. The law is the most aggressive federal advancement of school choice by allowing low-income parents to direct education dollars to private, charter, or Catholic schools that are better for their kids.
Okay, now that means you can send your kid to a private school and have the dollars that go to
that public schools go to that school.
Right, but your state has to opt into it. That was the kicker that I think it was the Senate that threw in there at the last minute that it wasn't mandatory, that the states could decide whether they wanted to do it or not. So again, that's a normal Trump thing. They throw it down to the states and let the states decide, which is technically the way that it's supposed to do.
Okay, whoa, back up.
What?
Okay, no.
You've already did that.
No, I didn't. That's healthcare. The law also expands eligibility for personalized medical savings accounts instead of conventional insurance. This allows workers to control their health care dollars.
Yeah, and so I don't know about that. I don't know what it is. I haven't read it, but it sounds good. Expands.
Well, I know when they were talking about doing that, they were talking about creating savings accounts that they take out money out of like they do taxes, and it goes into a medical savings account. So when you need it, then you just have that money right there. I don't know how they're going to do it, but then when they were going to do it back in the day when they were going to do it before, that's how they were going to do it.
Well, that would be cool. But if you haven't had enough money saved up yet, you know what I mean? Because if it's taking the place of insurance, look at how much insurance costs. You might have to go maybe 10 years or 5 years to get enough money in there to pay for a hospital visit, because like one x-ray might cost like what.
Well, those CT scans was like $21,000, $16,000 a piece.
Right, there you go. Okay, go ahead.
Back up. Okay, the law also the law increases mining and drilling on federal lands to increase access to American natural resource supplies to end our dependence on the Middle East or China or Russia.
Okay, that's just talking about oil.
The law formally ends the absurd Biden student loan forgiveness program, which forced taxpayers to swallow the cost of unpaid college loans. Great. The law ends the electric vehicle mandate and phases out the new Green Deal, thus allowing Americans to buy whatever car they want.
Otherwise, that was forced you into, there was a certain deadline you would have had to buy an electric car, and that's what set Musk off. That and the fact that Musk wanted one of his friends to run NASA, and the guy was a dedicated Democrat, and Trump wasn't going to have that either. So that was a combination of things.
The law expands opportunity zones and extends tax benefits for investing the inner cities and economically depressed rural areas I thought Democrats cared about poor communities.
Okay, what? Yeah, Democrats didn't want to sign any of this, but what that means is if you're a millionaire or somebody that wants to invest in a rural community, it's going to be all tax deductible to try to get them to invest in it. And
Okay, the law increases the tax to 8% on the near $1 trillion of bloated university endowments. Money that was never taxed. Is there a better way to tax the privileged rich? The law strengthens work requirements for Medicaid and food stamp recipients. History shows that work requirements end welfare dependency, and they do.
And they do, because most people that end up, a lot of people, when they had it before, instead of, if they were going to work for, because you'd have to it forced them to go to work, but it also, you could do charitable work and things if you couldn't find work, to take the place. But what it did, instead of driving people to doing charitable work, it drove them back to work. And that's what you want anyway. And it doesn't mean, even if you go to work, you're still eligible. I know people that are working, but they still get food stamps, but they're working, they're trying, they just don't make enough.
Okay, the new law authorizes the sale of expanded spectrum of strength rural broadband, assure America's technology dominance, and reduce the national debt by nearly 100 billion.
Okay, stop. All right. Anyway, and so this is really, some of the things, there's so much that here we would have had. And here's one thing. Trump tax cuts was going to go off because it was a time thing. And so now they've secured them permanent, and it would have been a 4.5 trillion in tax. That's in tax reductions with everything that they've got. So there's no tax on tips is coming out. If you make under $160,000 a year, then there's no tax on your tip.
No tax on Social Security.
No tax on, in the same way with Social Security and everything else. So you got to be in a much higher bracket for them to actually tax those things. But and so that's a good thing, and the child tax credit has been brought up from 2,000 to 2,200 per child, but it was made permanent also. Instead, it was also on a temporary basis. So there was a lot of things in the bill, and you're going to be finding about it. And we cut off. We're going to have to get out of here, but we cut off spending to Medicare or Medicaid. Illegal aliens got kicked off of it, and they also got kicked off of food stamps. And that's what the Democrats are complaining about. And it's really crazy how you hear them talk about how, they're all out there for the Democrats are all out there for the illegal aliens, but those are the people that are their new voters. Those are literally to replace the replace us,
right?
Because they know they can't convince us with their garbage, so they just bring in people they figure are stupid.
Yeah, bring them in, give them our things, and they'll vote for them. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's a payoff. You pay them off. Okay. Tell them how they can donate.
Okay, you can donate online by Cash App, over the phone, by mail-in check, or money order. You can find all that information at prophecyhour.com. That's prophecyhour.com.
Okay, folks, do pray about supporting Wichita Mission Church, and so anyway, remember, folks, though, there is only one true God. Who is he? He is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He is your father. His son is Yeshua HaMashiach. He gave his life for repentant sins, and he rose after 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. And through him, and only through him, is the way to the Father. Remember what?
Always be a blessing to others, and pray for the peace of Jerusalem, because when you pray for the peace of Jerusalem, it's like praying for Messiah's return.
Yes, and the Word of God tells us to do that. It tells us to pray for the peace of Jerusalem consistently, and everything revolves around that city, Jerusalem, the holy city. And so there's, it goes back to that. It's our time clock. It's the key to Bible prophecy. Jerusalem is. We need to keep it. If you want to know about prophecy, it's about how everything affects Jerusalem, Israel, because that's what it's all about, because that's what the word says. So, Lord our God, Father, King of the universe, dear Heavenly Father, in Yeshua HaMashiach's mighty name, I pray. Father, I pray that you would just please bless and keep them in your face and shine upon them. and you'd be gracious to them, Father, and give them peace like no one or nothing else can. Well, until an hour from now, this is Pastor Dan saying goodbye and shalom.
You've just heard the Messiah's Branch broadcast featuring Pastor Dan. To contact Dan on the internet, go to messiahsbranch.org. To write to Dan, send a note to Messiah's Branch, 230 West 4th Street, Florence, Kansas, 66851. Tune in next time for Messiah's Branch.